Hello, and welcome to episode number 26 of the Marriage Coach Podcast, where we are here to help you take your relationship
from surviving to thriving. Today on the Marriage Coach Podcast, we're going to be discussing managing your emotions.
So, babe, as always, we were talking about, we kind of recapping the podcast that we shared on last week and thinking about what we wanted to share with the listeners on this week. And we touched on emotions a little bit in last week's podcast, but we thought that we would delve a little bit deeper.
Right.
And so today we wanted to talk to the listeners about managing your emotions.
Yeah.
And we also talked about the best way to manage your emotions. So we wanted that to be the topic of our discussion on today, because we realized that our emotions are very, very important. We have them for a reason. God gave them to us. We know that they're indicators oftentimes of many different things, but what we do or how we respond in regards to our emotion is very important.
We all struggle with our emotions every day. Our emotion is like a roller coaster ride. I mean, we struggle with our emotions, when we go to work, on the job. Somebody may have called in sick, even on your way to work, while you're driving, a stranger cut you off, and now for the rest of the day, you're mad at somebody that you never met, that you will never see again, and they done went on with their life, and now your emotion has been affected. And it affects the way you think. It affects the way you deal with things. It affects, if you're going to bring positive energy to the environment, or you're going to bring negative energy to the environment. Well, that may 100% affect you getting raises, affect you getting promotions, affect whether you are a great employee or a bad employee, affecting where you successful in your relationship, successful in your marriage, successful as a parent. All this is affected by your emotions. So our emotions is very, very, very critical and very, very important.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we discussed as we were talking, we talked about understanding as individuals in regards to marriage. This is the Marriage Coach Podcast. In regard to relationships, because we talk about relationships, marital relationships, being engaged, dating, parenting relationships, sibling relationships. But we talk about all of these things. We realize that things that happen in the physical situations, physical issues, physical circumstance. Last week we talked about it. It was sickness, but different things. You talked about someone calling in on the job, and now you're stressed out because you have to cover for them. Someone cutting you off on the freeway, and now that's disrupted your day, or something that you did not expect to happen. Some phone call from a family member or a friend. There are lots of things that can affect our emotions, these physical things that happen in life, or these situations that happen in life affect our emotions. But as we are on that roller coaster ride, it's important for us as individuals to know how to manage our emotions, because when we don't manage our emotions well, that's when we see negative effect on our relationships. You talked about getting upset, and I remember once before in a financial class you were teaching at the church, we talked about how something happens at work and it affects your emotions, and then you come home and you take it out on the spouse, and then the spouse is upset because they can't really express, or they don't really know where the emotion came from, why they're feeling the way they're feeling. Now they take it out on the kid, and the kid don't know why they feeling the way they feeling, so they take it out on the dog. So we see that if we don't manage and check our emotions, it can cause issues in our lives.
Someone can get hurt that don't have anything to do with it. For example, like you just said, the dog then got kicked by the child, and the dog ain't did nothing to nobody. All he's been doing is watching the yard, watching the house, and he get kicked in the side of the face because the kid is now mad. And these things are very important. I mean, and we really, as far as managing our emotions, we really have to be careful. I mean, even the things we watch. I mean, watching the news. I mean, all the political chaos that's going on right now. I mean, these type of things affects the emotion, and this stuff is affecting us. It's affecting our relationship.
Yes,
it's affecting our friendship. I mean, there are literally friendships right now. I mean, people are unfriending people on social media.
With each other.
All because because all because of the things that's going on even in this world. So emotions is very critical. I mean, it's very critical, just the same way emotional. Even watching a game, you wanted your favorite team to win, your team don't win. It
You
affects your
emotional.
emotional,
Yeah.
and so we have to really be careful, very intentional on your emotions and how you deal with your emotions.
Absolutely. And as you were talking, I was thinking about our emotions and when they go unchecked. And that's what we're talking about. And thinking about sometimes there are residuals of
Yeah.
things happening for us, unchecking our emotions that we don't even realize. And
Yes.
these things cause detriment
Yeah.
in our lives and in our families, in our relationships, in our homes,
Yeah.
in our marriages. Marriages end because of unchecked emotions,
Yeah.
because you did not check your emotions, and now your behavior is disruptive. Now
Absolutely.
your behavior is inappropriate.
Yeah.
Now you are emotionally charged and out of, you're responding to your spouse, your significant other, your kids.
Right.
You're responding to your household out of your unmanaged emotions.
Yeah.
And our unmanaged emotions can get us in trouble. And you were talking about the effects of it. It can cause things to happen that you never intended to
Yeah.
happen. You can hurt someone that you love deeply in ways that you never intended to hurt them,
Yeah.
because you didn't manage your emotions
Yeah.
properly. This is the thing I think about. God gave us our emotions, our feelings, anger, frustration. All of these things are indicators.
Yeah.
They're indicators that something is not working,
Absolutely.
something is off. Someone cutting you off, you get upset. That's an indicator. You don't like what happened. It's okay. So we know that our emotions are for a purpose, and
Right.
we must understand that they are for a purpose. They have a reason. What we're talking about today is when you don't manage them well. Manage them is the way you respond. You pay attention to how you feel, but you are even more intentional about the way you respond.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And this is a thing. I mean, we have to really be careful about this because our emotions go back. I mean,
Hmm.
our emotions, some of our emotions go back to our childhood. Our
Yes.
emotions go back to what we
Yes.
experienced in elementary, middle, and high school.
Hmm.
Emotions are very critical. But there's somebody here listening right now who you're dealing with something. I mean, in life, you can't get ahead. It's like, seems like things is not falling in place in your life. It seems like you can't get that
Hmm.
promotion you want. You can't get what you desire. It's like everything, nothing is falling in place. But this is the thing. I really want you to just consider it can truly be somebody else's fault. I'm not discrediting anything like that. But what I'm saying, I just want you to really consider. I just want you to take a minute and just really consider, like, man, you know what? Do I have a bad attitude?
Hmm.
I say I want to
Unchecked
I want to
emotions.
be married one day, or maybe somebody's single. I maybe want to be married one day. Am I wifey material? I
Hmm.
want to be a husband one day. Am I husband material?
Hmm.
Am I a good wife? Am I a good husband? Because the relationship and the marriage is not where it's supposed to be. I mean, I know, yeah, it may be your husband's fault. It may be your wife's fault. But what I want you to do, I just want you to take a minute and just really think about and say, man, you know what? Do I need to get my emotions in check?
Hmm.
Am I really thinking too much into this? I mean, so
Hmm.
that's what we're dealing with on today. Emotions, managing your emotions. And the first easiest way to manage your emotion is just keep you in tune with how you feel in that day. It keeps you in tune of where you are. And if you know where you are, you know where you need to go. If you know where you are, you know how you need to adjust. And it's all about making those proper adjustments so you can have the life that God has called for you to live, so you can
Absolutely.
live abundance life, so you can have the life that God called for you to have. And that's what we're talking about on today. We're talking about helping you get your relationship, taking your job, taking your business, taking every aspect of your life from surviving to thriving.
Absolutely, absolutely. And just thinking about what you just got through saying,
Yeah,
if we take it and take this all in and think about what's being said today, for that couple that may find that your marriage or your relationship is struggling,
yeah,
then you have ask yourself the question, are you angry, and are you responding inappropriately out of that anger? If you are disruptive, if your behavior is inappropriate, why do you have this disruptive behavior?
right,
What is, I'm sorry, what is your response Why is this behavior disruptive? What led here?
Yeah,
Emotions, our emotions lead to a lot of things that can affect us in many areas of our lives. You
absolutely.
talked about on the job. Sometimes some people don't even realize that your emotions, you're not managing your emotions properly. And now you're seeing the effects of it in your life. You have issues in a relationship, you
Yeah,
have issues on the job, you have issues with the kids, but that is all because you're not managing your emotions. You're blowing up at the drop of a dime. You're not responding properly. You're not doing what you need to do as far as managing your emotions,
wow.
and it's causing issues. We even talked about earlier, before we started recording, when we were just discussing, which made us want to talk about this, how much not managing your emotions can affect your life,
Yeah,
your marriage,
yeah.
your
Your
friendships, your
future.
relationships, your future.
I mean, your
Absolutely.
emotions right now affect what next year is going to be like. I
Exactly.
mean, right now,
Exactly.
the way you are, the way you're acting, the way you're treating
The way
people,
you
the
respond.
relationships
Yes.
you're building right now, today, you're listening today, whether you're in your car, your house, wherever you are, you're listening to this today. Your emotions right now affect your future.
Hmm. Because you respond, we respond
When you
as human
respond, you
beings.
should respond based on your emotions.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
As human beings, we often, until we learn this to manage our emotions, and even when you learn to manage them, you still have to exercise and be intentional about managing them. We respond out of our emotions. You feel a certain way, something happens, your emotions are running high, you're frustrated, you're angry, you're sad, you're happy, whatever that emotion is, you
Excited.
respond to that.
Yeah.
And the truth of the matter is, sisters, we can set the atmosphere for a lot of those things in our home.
Yeah.
If they used to say that, they say this
Happy life,
adage,
happy wife.
exactly, if
Yeah.
mama not happy, nobody not
Yeah.
happy. And those things come about, all these little quirks and sayings come about because when the wife, when mom is not happy, everybody in the house can feel it.
Yeah.
That's what they're talking about, because it's really managing your emotions is really about how you respond.
Yeah.
It's okay for you to be angry. That is a natural emotion. It's okay.
It's
It's
what you
not
do
okay.
with the anger.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
not okay for you to mistreat people out of your anger. It's okay for you to be sad. It's okay for you to feel like you're frustrated with certain things. That's natural, because it's indicating that something needs to be different, that something is not fitting together, that something is not working. Every emotion that we have is natural, and it's okay.
Yeah.
It's what we do with it,
Yeah.
how we respond to others in regard to that emotion,
Yeah.
how we respond to circumstance in regards to our emotions, how we move about in regards to our emotions. Those are the things that matter. So this is about you managing. And to manage something means you look after it, that you watch over it. And so what you're doing is learning. What you must do is learn to watch over your emotions.
What type of things happen if we don't properly manage our emotions?
If we don't properly manage our emotions, there are a lot of things that can happen. We have, some of us are emotional spenders.
Yeah.
When
Huh.
things are not going good in my life, I
Yeah.
go to retail therapy, I go to shopping, I go to the mall, I go to the internet.
Yeah.
Some of us are emotional eaters.
Yeah.
When things are not
Hmm.
going right, when I don't feel good, when I'm sad, when I'm angry, I eat, I eat, I eat. That affects you as far as your health. That emotional spending can affect your bank account, and it can definitely affect your marriage, because if you're the spouse that gets emotional, or you're not controlling your emotions, so you're spending, now you have financial issues in your marriage because you're spending what you don't have. Your emotion is causing disruptions to your relationship, because your spouse is now pretty much walking on eggshells, or they're nervous because they don't know, how you're going to respond.
Yeah.
Everything
Hmm.
sets you off,
Yeah.
or everything sends, if sometimes it sends you into a crying spell. Everything is emotional, everything hurts your feelings,
Yeah.
everything, because of unmanaged emotions.
Yeah.
So these things, it can cause like that. The other person is shriveling and dying because they can't say anything to you,
Mm.
because you're going to respond in a way that is not what they intended.
Yeah.
They're trying to express something to you, and your response out of your emotions tells them that they can't be honest with you. Your response out of your emotions tell them that they can't be open with you.
Yeah.
Your response out of your emotions tell them that they can't reveal truth to you, that they can't even tell you how they feel. They can't share with you what's going on in their life. I thought about this in regards to if you have a spouse or friend or whoever, if you go to tell them and you're sharing with them and you're sharing about how you feel or what you're going through, and they immediately take over the conversation and they begin to tell you how they feel and what they, or they like, oh, you tripping, what you mean you sad, da, 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 da. Whatever it is, you're kind of blowing it off. So that you're not allowing them to manage their emotions, and you're acting out of your unmanaged emotions. Because I believe that a lot of the things that we have, when we look at people and say, oh, this person is angry, oh, this person is sad, oh, this person is just mean, a lot of that is because they have unmanaged emotions. Someone has hurt them along the way, so
Yeah.
now they're just going to be mean to everybody. A past relationship, he didn't do you right, he didn't treat you right, so now you're going to be extra with this next person. That's an unmanaged emotion. You have someone that loves you, and you can't trust them, and they can't love you the way they want to love you because of your unmanaged emotions.
Yeah. And that leads us to a point. Don't discount somebody else's emotions.
Mm,
Don't discount somebody
yeah.
else's emotions. I mean, this is not buying groceries. This is not shopping. When you pull out your discount card. I mean, you can't discount somebody else's emotion. I mean, if somebody feelings that way, I mean, that's how they feel. This is not your time to discount and say, you know what, you're not feeling, or you telling me I'm not feeling the way I'm feeling, or
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you that you're not feeling the way you're feeling. I mean, no, I can't discount your emotion because regardless, your emotions is your emotion.
Mm-hmm.
The way you feel is the way you feel,
Mm-hmm.
and we need to respect that.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. And what we want to do with our spouses, when we think about, you asked me the question, and I'm not sure if I finished it. The things that your unmanaged emotions can affect. We talk about your unmanaged emotions affecting your finances, your
Yeah.
unmanaged emotions affecting your behavior
Yeah.
and how you treat people. So you mistreat the spouse or you mistreat the children, and now the children are going to school and they're acting out because at home, mom or dad's emotions are out of control and unmanaged. So now the child has unmanaged, out of controlled emotions.
Right.
Your emotions are affecting everything. And so, with that being said, and thinking about what you just said, sometimes it's the exact opposite, that a person is now acting out, so their emotions are unmanaged with other people
Mm.
because they were not allowed to
Mm.
express and go through, to lay that emotion on the table with the person that they should have been able to safely lay it on the table with. Thus is what I mean about when you are a wife and you're taking it out on the kids, because you can't really tell honey what you need to tell honey. Honey is not your significant other is not allowing you to express your emotions and work through that. So now someone else gets the butt of how you feel, and your emotions being unmanaged with them. So you're not responding to the person that you would want to respond to, but your other people are feeling the effects of your unmanaged emotions. We're talking about today learning. Let's be clear about that. If I didn't say it before, I want to be clear about that. We're talking about learning to manage your emotions.
Yeah.
We want you to learn tips and understand how to respond. Your emotions are normal, but how do you respond?
So one of the things I want to do, because we're talking about the emotions, we're talking about how it affects things. Let's before we leave here today, I want to have to leave our audience with some tips on something we can do to deal with this. So what can we do?
The first thing we want to do is accept our emotions.
All right.
And when we say that, we mean accept all of your emotions.
Mm.
Accept happy, accept sad, accept anger, accept all of those things, because we've already said they are natural. They are indicators. An indicator is just like the lights on the dash. They come on to let you know something.
Yeah.
If you're happy, that's to let you know something.
Yeah.
If you're sad, that's to let you know something. If you're frustrated, it's indicating something. If you're angry, it's indicating something. So accept that we all have emotions, except that we all ride the emotional roller coaster every now and then.
Yeah.
We understand each and every day we have emotions, we will express emotions, we will feel emotions.
Yeah.
So accept that. Let's make that clear.
Yeah.
That's the first thing we have to do. Accept that. First, and foremost, God gave us these emotions
Yeah.
and they're there for a reason
Mm.
and for a purpose. We don't want to look at them negatively like, oh, I shouldn't be sad, or I shouldn't be angry, or I shouldn't be this. No, you're a human being. You have these emotions for a reason, accept that you have them.
Yeah, I mean, scripture say be angry, but sin not. You
Exactly.
know, it's okay to
Exactly.
be angry. It's
Hmm.
okay to be emotional,
Hmm.
but it's what you do with it. So be angry,
Absolutely.
but sin not. Yeah,
Yes,
that's it. So what's
absolutely.
number two?
Number two, you want to aim to understand your emotions. And this is what we mean. We're not talking about ignoring your emotions. We're not talking about suppressing your emotions or
Mm-hmm.
repressing your emotions.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you do that, if you feel sad, but you're suppressing it, you're repressing it, you're ignoring it, you're pretending like you're not sad, you're stuffing that down and allowing that to mask. And that's not good because emotions gone unrecognized or unacknowledged is worse when you know. If you know that I'm sad, then you can go further. What's the next step? If you know that I'm happy, okay, great. Why am I happy? Let's do what it takes to stay there. If you know that you're angry, why am I angry? You cannot make you cannot make decisions. You cannot move. You cannot navigate forward from an emotion. You can't even know how to properly respond to an emotion if you are refusing to aim to understand that emotion. I'm upset. Why am I upset? I'm
Yeah.
frustrated.
Mm.
Why am I upset? Whatever it is, you want to aim to understand it. We're not saying ignore it or suppress it. When we're talking about managing it, the main thing is acknowledging it, accepting it, and then understanding it, working to understand it. Why did I get here? How did I get here? Why do I feel this way?
I love it. Aim to understand. I remember that was the infomercial used to come on. There was college girls going wild. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah.
College girls going wild. And you said something. So here it is. Aim to understand. So if you don't aim to understand your emotion, then you ignore it. Basically, you're gonna be dealing with emotions going
Emotions
wild,
gone wild.
emotions
Yeah.
going crazy. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, your emotions just gone loose and
Mm-hmm.
it's just doing its own thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so we want to really make sure aim. You aim to
Understand.
understand, or it's going to go wild and it's going to control you. You don't want your emotions to
Mm,
control you. Control your emotions. Don't allow your emotions to control you. What's number three?
absolutely. Number three is acknowledge when it's necessary to express them.
Okay, unpack that.
And this is important because when we're talking about you aiming to understand your emotions, you have to know with certain emotions, it's important to know when you need to acknowledge them. If you are sad to the fact that it's causing you to deal with depression, you are angry to the fact that we talked about this a few minutes earlier, your family's afraid of you, your significant other is walking on eggshells because you're angry,
Yeah.
or you become physically violent with people because you're angry, you have to acknowledge that it's necessary to express this. And when I say express it, it don't mean physically putting your hands, I'm angry, so I need to hurt somebody. No, you're expressing that you need some help with this situation. You're expressing that my sadness, this sadness, this emotion has gotten beyond what I control, or somehow I'm not able to manage it. So I need some help in managing it. So it's important to know when to acknowledge it. And I think in relationships, most important, we want you to know in relationships, it's important to know when to acknowledge something with your spouse.
Yeah.
If something is not feeling good, if something is hurting you, if something is bothering you, if something is causing you to feel lonely, sad, hurt, offended, angry, upset, whatever emotion you are feeling,
Yeah.
if you need to acknowledge that with your spouse. If my husband is said something or something has happened and I'm feeling this way, I need to tell him that, because until I tell him, he doesn't even know. He doesn't know. He doesn't know. The person may not know. We talked about that earlier in the podcast.
Yeah.
They could have came home upset about something that happened at work, and their response to you out of their unmanaged emotion cause you to go into a whirlwind with your unmanaged emotions, or with an emotion, even if it is managed, you maybe you managed your emotions, so they came in from work and their emotion was unmanaged. You managed yours, but it's still lingering.
Hmm.
You need to acknowledge that
Yeah.
because
Hmm.
you went off and I kept quiet, but this is bothering me because you keep doing this every week. And maybe there's something going on at the job. Maybe there's something going on that we need to talk about. Acknowledge when you need to express your emotions. Cedric and I were having a conversation. This was a couple of days ago. And Cedric made a statement, and I was like, okay. Talk to him so that I could get an understanding of what he meant. Because at that point, my emotions were running rampant, and my emotions was telling me what he meant instead of me asking him what he meant. So when I was able to bring my emotions into a control setting, and I'm like, okay, I'm in control of my emotions. He made a comment. We were talking. He made a comment. I'm not understanding the comment, and my emotions going to the left. I'm going to bring them right back to the center, and then I'm going to go talk to him. And we went and I talked to him. And when he expressed, went into detail with what the comment meant. I was like, oh, I was thinking something completely different because I had to go and acknowledge. So, with that being said, I had to acknowledge that I was feeling that way to him for him to fully express. And sometimes I think in relationships, we never express our emotions. We never express how we feel about something. We never honestly express. And then we expect the other person to know, and we want them to respond out of what we think they should know instead of the fact that you need to tell them. So you need to acknowledge when it's necessary to express. I'm sad, I'm angry, I'm hurt, I'm offended, I'm upset, I'm this, I'm that, I'm disappointed. Whatever it is, you have to acknowledge when it's important to express that.
Yeah. And this is the thing. This is why managing your emotions is so important. You owe it to yourself, you owe it to your loved ones around you, and you owe it to your future.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. We want to thank you for joining us today on the Marriage Coach Podcast. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notifications so that you will be notified when we upload a video every week. And if you enjoyed the information you heard on today, or if you found it helpful, we ask that you would give us a big thumbs up. Also, please rate the podcast and leave a review if you're listening on iTunes. That will help us get the word out. Please check out our Lead to Greatness podcast. It's a podcast where my husband is interviewing successful leaders and entrepreneurs from all around the world.
So we want to thank you so much for joining us today on the Marriage Coach Podcast. Looking forward to hanging out with you again on next week as we continue to help you take your relationship from surviving to thriving. Bye. See you next week.